I don't understand why white people in France say black. Me as a black person, I would say noir, but a white person is gonna say black, the English word. It's weird because it's a way to other us. When you say black, you're using an English word and you're basically saying that we are not from here, that there's something foreign about us, that we are from somewhere else when they say black instead of saying noir. And it's even mostly all these like leftist people. The worst thing that you could do to me right now is just say la fille black, la fille black. It doesn't even fit in the sentence. Like it would be weird if people would say in English, noir, noir girl. And that would be weird, that wouldn't make any sense. We do this thing in France where we deny the wrong things we did in history. We deny everything. For instance, something that has nothing to do with colonialism, the fact that French people deported Jewish people during World War II. So with colonialism, it's the same thing. There is a law in France that is basically saying what France did during colonialism was good. The good work that France did in Africa, le travail positif de la France dans les colonies. I know more about what happened in America during the slavery than I know about the French history. I don't know concretely what happened in plantation. I don't know anything. We, as a generation, children of immigrants, we want to know what happened during slavery, during colonialism, because this is our history. If we don't know what happened, then we don't know why we're here. Why does my parents speak French? By denying this history, they can push this narrative of immigrants, they are here, they are like parasites, we don't know why they are here. Why would their parents come here? Our parents would come here because you fucked up our countries, you exploited our resources, and now our parents who speak French, they come here to get jobs, to get education, to try to live. The reason why France can deny that it didn't happen here in America, they can't deny that because it happened in their country. In France, it's something that happened abroad, so we can act like it didn't affect anything, whether French people, white people like it or not. They think that happened really far away. It really shaped French identity. We need as a generation to find out what happened. There's some stuff that they are trying to hide. Being a young person in France right now is really hard. It's really hard to find a job. I work at the fast food restaurant and we are mostly all black and Arab. I'm really happy to have this job because it's a paycheck. I can't really complain right now. For me, it's a lot of emotional labor. You have to do a lot of like reassuring, do a lot of smiling. I'm not really like social as a person, so it's kind of hard. So it's a real job for me and I'm not being paid for that kind of like invisible labor that we don't talk about when it comes to retail, restaurant. I think this kind of job affects mental health because if you're not like a really extroverted person, I think it can drain you a lot. I come home and I just want to sleep. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone because I've been talking so much all day. As I said, it's not the physical labor that drains me, it's really the emotional. I think being a black Muslim in France is really different from being an Arab or a South Asian Muslim. But I think in France we have created this solidarity between black and Arabs. It's really weird because black Africans know that there's a lot of racism in North Africa against black Africans from Arabs. You know, since 9/11 happened and then when the attacks in Spain happened, that's when we kind of felt like in France when if you're Muslim, you're not welcome. It's crazy in France how we have created policies that confirm all these stories and all these stereotypes. So there's like the veil ban in France. Women, we are not allowed to wear the veil, you know, the niqab or the hijab in any public spaces. Most people in France wear before the veil ban. If you're going on a field trip with your class and your mom is Muslim and she wants to wear the hijab, then she's not allowed like to come with you. But there is also this stuff about how you're not supposed to show your religion, but all these policies mostly target Muslim people. Ironically, it mostly targets women. Islamophobia in France. It is supposed to like protect women from a religion that abuse them, but they are the first victims of these policies, because since these policies there have been a lot of like attacks against women who wear the hijabs by men. Basically in France we have this idea that race doesn't exist. It's written in our constitution that we don't acknowledge race. So I think that's also an excuse, because if race doesn't exist, then racism doesn't exist. Colonial ideology is one of the, I think, the worst thing in this country. I feel like in America it's something that it's coming upon them. There's this fear that people are going to not acknowledge race anymore. But in France it's like really concrete. For instance, we don't know how many black people there are in France because we don't do ethnic statistics and stuff like that. For me it's easier to talk about issues of race in English, yes, because a lot of the literature that I've read about race was coming from English writers. But it's hard because I don't want American or non-French literature about race to be my only base to talk about it, because the Black French experience is different from the Black American experience, different from the Black British experience, different from the Black Spanish experience. I mostly use this literature as tools. I'll try to adapt it to the French context. Definitely easier for me to talk about it in English. Since we think that race doesn't exist, we basically don't have a language to talk about racism, and I think it's really hard for the children of immigrants because we don't have the language to talk about our experience. Not only we don't have the language, but we don't have any of these resources. We don't have any of these books. We have not been told about Frantz Fanon, Edouard Glissant, Aimé Césaire, Maurice Condé, or all these writers who wrote about race. Also maybe because I've been pretty isolated about this, because I don't have like a lot of like Black French friends to talk about it, and I'm still looking for them, mostly on the internet, to talk about these issues. I think overall, globally, darker skinned women are considered like more masculine, and I've been feeling like this most of my life because I was raised in a mostly white environment, and you always like question your femininity, because what is supposed to be feminine, how it is represented culturally in everything, it never looks like you. What is feminine never looks like you. People just have then different expectations. I've been facing it in my own family. I'm someone who, I don't go out a lot, so we were always together. It feels worse because you're always surrounded by this negativity about you, and then when you go outside there's nothing that tells you that your mom is wrong. On the contrary, everything is saying your mom is right. I wouldn't say that what my mom is saying is not true. The problem with truth is that may not be true like objectively, but in a society it's been constructed as a truth, so it's really hard to escape it. So I'm still struggling with having a better image of myself. I don't think I'll ever think, yeah, I look good, I'm really beautiful. Like, there are people who are going to be told that they are ugly and who will never believe it, and I've been told I was ugly and I believed it, and that's been like maybe one of the worst things that happened to me. And it happened to me as a child, and I think it's Fanon, he was quoting someone else that it's really hard to recover from childhood. If we don't know what happened, then we don't know why we're here. There are some stuff that they are trying to hide. Immigrants, they are here. Why would their parents come here? Our parents would come here because you fucked up our country, you exploited our resources. For me, it's a lot of emotional labor, and I'm not being paid for that. Kind of like invisible labor that we don't talk about. The problem with truth is that it may not be true objectively, but in a society, it's been constructed as a truth. There are some stuff that they are trying to hide.